All right, and welcome to week 6, day 2 of Resolute. We've got Plato and Nietzsche, some heavy hitters in the philosophical world today. And starting off with Plato, we've got the question, what is the highest form of good in your life? Philosophy has established that we tend to live in line with values, and if we don't examine our life, we tend to live by values that are equally unexamined. So Plato is suggesting here, and the kind of question that we're using here is, what are our aims and what are our targets? Because likely we're going to hit them. And if we keep hitting targets that we don't want to hit, that can really put us in touch with maybe some of our values are off. Maybe some of the virtues that we're pursuing are off. Maybe we're a little bit out of whack, out of line, and we need to kind of look at that. So identifying this can help guide our actions and decisions and aim them towards something more intentionally. I like this question. It's challenging, it's a little bit vague, and I think that really forces us to wrestle with it. Second question here for Plato, we got, how does your life contribute to the greater good of society? Tying us all the way back to the very beginning about positive mindset is that our greatest satisfaction as humans seems to correspond with the times and moments of our life where we're being most useful, where we're being most encouraging or contributing most to the good of society. So we're kind of tying that all back together here. So what's our role? How do our actions and decisions impact those around us? And if we're seeing impacts that aren't the best, maybe we need to check in with our highest form of good in our life and kind of work our way back through there. So there is a progression to all these questions. Again, question 3 here, we've got, what virtues are you striving to cultivate? And we want to notice the pattern here that we're talking about what's our greatest good, okay? How are we contributing to society, all right? And how are our virtues either supporting or undermining our ability to have the impact that we want to have? These are big questions, really big questions. These are like go out in the woods for a couple of days and sit with these questions. But I think we need those in our life because I think they keep us honest, and I think they keep us curious, and I think they keep us accountable to things that can otherwise be really challenging and uncomfortable. Next up, we've got Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher. Probably seen this name before and had no idea how to pronounce it. As I understand it, it's Nietzsche, not Nietzsche. Well, that sounds kind of fun. Or Nietzsche. It's Nietzsche. So take my word on that one. He's the author of that quote that we looked at before about he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. And that's what this question moves us into today, is what are you willing to suffer for? What hill are you willing to die on? Is it a person? Is it a idea? Is it a purpose or a facet of meaning in your life? What are you willing to suffer for? And I think that this sets us up with that original question that prompted all of Resolute here, is suffering well together. Well, if we're going to suffer well, we should probably be picking what exactly it is that we're suffering for. And so what is the why that gives your life meaning and helps you persevere through challenges? What are you willing to suffer for? Question number 2 from Nietzsche is, what would you do if you were to live your life over and over and over again? This idea of eternal recurrence. Would you change anything? Would you do anything different? If you had an infinite goes at this, would you live the same life that you're living right now? Or would you change things? That really forces us to look at, well, if there are some things I want to change, I should probably look at those things. I love this question. And then question number 3 is, how do you affirm life in the face of hardship and suffering? How do you embrace life? How do you embrace the difficulty? How do you embrace the challenge? How do you embrace the adventure of things? How do you accept difficulty? And how do you reaffirm that that's part of life and that's part of what we are here to do, evidently? And how do we embrace all of life? Are there certain aspects of it that we're just not going anywhere near? Could that be connected to our shadow self with our day 1 questions from Jung? And are there parts of us that we really need to pay attention to and to grow and to transform? But because we're unwilling to look at difficult truths or difficult realities, that we're not allowing ourselves access to because the suffering and hardship is there, and we're trying to avoid that. So again, some big questions. These are sit around a campfire and drink some whiskey questions, but that's why I saved them for the very end. See you guys tomorrow.